it seems like he's been the main man in our midfield.
He's played so much football in this run.
9 starts on the bounce, is the most in his Liverpool career, I believe.
Yeah.
And whatever the midfield is personnel-wise next year, Curtis Jones is an absolute part of that.
Chloe, you mentioned the Scousers there. Let's talk about one of them, in Curtis Jones. Wow. Like, I mean, particularly the second goal is just outrageous. I was thinking in that first 15 minutes, Kurt's fine here. He's having a decent game, but a lot's going through him, but he's not being enough of a killer. He was playing it quite safe and quite simple, and not in the way that he would have done if he was playing 20 yards deeper. Because he was getting the ball in quite brave areas of the pitch, but I wanted him to be a bit more ruthless, and rather than knock it on, go and take a man on, go and try and make something happen himself. But yeah, once he got the first goal, he didn't look back after that.
No, he didn't, and the first goal is actually really important because what I've said about our midfield under Jurgen Klopp, in fact, you could say for a long time since Steven Gerrard, is that our midfielders don't get enough goals in a season. They don't at all. They don't help out the front three. We're so reliant on that front three. And Curtis Jones might just be it. He might be the type of player who can bag you decent goals and assist tallies every single season for you. We've saw the blueprint of that first goal before. We saw it at Spurs at Anfield, where he arrives at the back post. I don't know how he's in so much space. What happens to Leicester's defence, I've got no idea. But he senses it. He makes the run. He finds the space. He asks for it. He puts a beautiful ball into him. And the connection he gets is decent. And it was then like he was unleashed. He had the ability to roam about, control the game. He didn't let anything go. He was winning balls back. He was energetic. He really took the game to Leicester. He was the kind of, and I don't want to mention Steven Gerrard again, because Steven Gerrard's on a different planet, but Steven Gerrard would grab a game by the scruff of the neck, and I reckon Curtis Jones did that. The second is just instinct. It is brilliant. And the goals came from us moving the ball quick enough. We were getting in and around the area a lot in the first 25 minutes, but we were really slow on the ball. And Mo fishes a ball into him on the half volley, on the half turn. He put it in the back of the net. It was brilliant. ROAN couldn't quite believe he'd scored that, because I've not seen that from Curtis Jones. You've seen glimpses, the goal against Everton in the FA Cup, I think it was. But yeah, he had a 10 out of 10 game. He was absolutely brilliant. Deserved man of the match. And it's boss to see, because like he mentioned in his post-match stuff, he's missed 15 weeks of this season with injuries. That frustrate him, because we've not had a midfield that's been good enough this season, and he could have very easily walked into that midfield earlier on than when he did. He came in at Chelsea, I thought he was really good, and since then it seems like he's been the main man in our midfield, which isn't easy to do when you have got, Thiago, although he's injured, the name of Thiago. You've got Henderson, who gets hailed for his work off the ball. Fabinho, by the way, I thought was phenomenal the other day. Thought he was brilliant. But for Curtis Jones, a youngster, to come in and just grab the game by the scruff of the neck when they're desperate for absolutely anything, it was boss to see.
That goal, the second goal, was just, as you say, it was just perfect. I was sort of talking about it last night. I was like, it's Di Canio, it's Zola, it's all of these, Matt Letizia, Yeboah. It had elements of all these great strikers. And I'm not really thinking about midfielders, because it was just so instinctive. That was the word that you used, wasn't it? And the touch by Mo, I mean, it's a first-time pass, isn't it? And it's absolutely brilliant. Like, and I actually didn't think Mo was great last night, to be honest with you. And yet he walks away with 3 assists. And you're like, how the friggin' hell have you done that? Like, he must have lost the ball 20 times in the first 15 minutes or so, running down blind alleys and stuff. And yet still has that impact on the game that you needed. But on the Kurt Jones stuff, for me, like, everything that Chloe said's absolutely spot on. This system suits him. Second, probably it suits Trent the most, and it suits Kurt Jones the most after that for me.
And lo and behold, one of our biggest criticisms, and this doesn't matter where you fall on, it was ownership and the transfer things, the biggest thing that everyone across the board has said is, don't have injury-prone players. Don't be reliant upon players who get injured constantly. People talk about Thiago, and they're talking about, obviously, Naby Keita prize and that, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, etc. And look, Curtis Jones has had his own fair share of injury problems, but we've just doubled down on the young, hungry, athletic, and fit lad. He's played so much football in this
It's
run.
9 starts on the bounce. It's the most in his Liverpool career, I believe.
Yeah.
And you'd see him starting the last 2 as well, because he
100%.
seems one of the most important people on the
Well, we
pitch.
see Endo's been dropping out. Endo's
Yeah.
dropped out for Gakpo last week, and Endo's dropped out for other players. Elliott's come in at times, and Kate Jones has been there.
I'm also very surprised. He's always pretty much the last sub. He, like, Henderson gets dragged, and maybe that's just
this is
age.
the thing, he's 20.
but-
He's 22.
Yeah.
There's no reason why he can't. Like, you look. I did this on my YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago, looking at the age profiles and minutes compared to 18, 19, and the ones who do the most minutes are all lads who are in the prime. So they're aged between 23 and 26. You know, Virgil van Dijk, Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Alisson Becker, and Mohamed Salah. These are the ones who are doing 4,000 plus minutes in a season because you can. Because it's an acceptable amount of football for someone to play like that, because you're no longer developing, so you're not running the risk of ruining someone for doing it too soon. They're your prime years when you should be doing that. And Curtis Jones at 22 is actually probably still slightly young, you know, to be doing that. But right now, yeah, he's kicking on, and you can trust him to be playing 90 minutes because why not? He's not played. He's sat around waiting for the opportunity to play. We've not run him into the ground, maybe psychologically a little bit, you know, because he was asked a lot, even like the COVID season, he had to play too much for his age. He's flourishing, staying. You know, it looks like Chris mentioned Trent. We're getting better every game. They're getting a greater understanding, and Curtis really typifies that, because I expect it from Trent because I know he's world class. But I've always had a sneaking feeling that Curtis Jones was a really good footballer, and he's starting to prove that right.
Since we've changed the shape, the old system we used to have with the flat 3 wouldn't work particularly well for him because it takes away, it inhibits his natural game. Now with him being brave, look at the assist against Leeds in Mo Salah's position when he plays the ball across the box. The second goal yesterday, he's finding himself in positions that a Gini Wijnaldum probably would never find himself in, because it's once we haven't got the ball, get back in the battle zone, have that 3 rigid across the middle of the park. Klopp speaks a lot about bravery, taking chances, and that suits Curtis Jones's game. So you're exactly right. Trent's benefited the most, and then it's Curtis that's benefited second to that. And right now, when you're sitting right down in the midfield, he's the first name on the team sheet. And fair play to him, because the lad's copped a lot of flack, a lot of it unjustified from our own fan base. Because when you go and score a goal like he did against Everton, we have a very expectant fan base, haven't we, that think, go on, do it again. You can do that every game because you've done it once. Life's not like that. Kind of has a drop off after that, and then you have to get used to what the player is. And as Paul says, you know, some strange injuries, not like a reoccurring hamstring. There's an eye injury and shin splints. That could be part still coming to the end of his growth cycle as an adult. Mm-hmm. So it's really good to see. And right now, the future of our midfield looks really good. And whatever the midfield is personnel wise next year, Curtis Jones is an absolute part of that setup. I want
to let's just carry on the Gini Wijnaldum comparison, because that's the one that everyone's been talking about. We haven't signed the Gini Wijnaldum replacement, blah blah blah. The thing that we remember here, look, I caveat all of this, it's still a pretty short run of games, you know, by all told. Now he's played 95 times for Liverpool now, which is a pretty good return for a 22-year-old. But we're talking about Gini Wijnaldum. He's such a rare thing for a start. You know, he's a winger or a number 10, and then he's brought in and converted into a box-to-box midfielder, occasional defensive midfielder. But he's also brought in at like 25, and he's got probably 50 international caps for Holland under his belt at this point. He's captained PSV, I think, at some point earlier in his career before he comes in there. He's got a couple of years of experience with Newcastle in the Premier League. The point is, this is an established footballer.
He was captain of about 2 or 3 clubs before he came to us as well, Gini.
Yeah. And this is the thing about Curtis, is he's coming in, and you know, to say that he couldn't do the Gini Wijnaldum role is fair, because again, he's not. That's a very grown-up role that Gini Wijnaldum played. You know, when he used to go to Holland, he had a belter of a time going to Holland. He said, go and play the 10, go and flit around and score some goals. It's like, oh, brilliant. Like training with weighted clothes, and then goes to Holland and just gets to fly free. In this formation, Chris, what you get to see from him, I think Gini Wijnaldum would have shone in that position in this team, a 25-year-old Gini Wijnaldum, because those years growing up as a winger actually stand you in good stead. You're not good enough to start in that position, but you actually know what to do when you arrive in those positions as well. So that scoring from the back post stuff, that being he's almost like a backup winger at times for us. It does perfectly suit Curtis Jones' skill set.
It doesn't, but it's not just about what suits your skill set. It's about the other players around you and those interactions on the pitch, the relationships that you've got with everybody near you. You know, you change one person in the team, you change the role for 3 or 4 players who interact with them regularly. And so Kurt Jones is now having played with Jota for a little bit. He's now played with Diaz for a little bit. He's now played with Nunes on the left-hand side. This is all in 9 weeks, by the way. You know, he's had Randy Robertson there. Timakash will have had 1 appearance maybe, or a couple of sub-appearances there. You know, the midfielder alongside him's changed. All this while you're in a new position. You're actually dealing with all these other forces of changing personnel and stuff, and he's handled it well each and every time, and it's testament to him that he is the one that's keeping his role in that side each and every week. But it's what he's doing on the ball. You know, it started off, slow and steady, keep the ball nice and safe, all this type of stuff. And now he's like, you can just feel it, can't you? I've got a bit of confidence. I'll go for this. I'll try a little bit of this. And he can hold his head up high now as part of this 11 and know that he deserves to be there on merit. And I think that plays into his confidence. You know, doesn't score the second goal without scoring the first goal, quite frankly, from last night, does he? Doesn't even take it on.
No.
You know what I mean? Doesn't take that, you know, he had confidence when he came in, you know, against Everton and all that type of stuff. It looked to wane, it looked to ebb, and now it's back big time, and he looks full of it and just ready to go. Yeah,
absolutely. Just a couple of things I thought it was worth pointing out. You mentioned, Chloe, about goal return and what have you, and again, very small sample size on this, but that means this season so far, 16 Premier League appearances, 3 goals and 1 assist for Kurt, and that's only in 919 minutes, which is, again, a very, very small sample size. Gini Wijnaldum's best ever goal return for Liverpool was 6 goals in a season, and that comes across, that's, let's say, so in total he's played 1,000 minutes for Liverpool this season, got 3 goals and 1 assist, and Gini Wijnaldum's best is from 1920, plays 3,600 minutes and gets 6 goals and no assists in that. So, again, different role, different position, but as far as a note of encouragement goes, Chloe, the fact that he is getting into those positions and he is taking them and he does look so natural in that, he might never score 6 goals in a season, but if he wanted to extrapolate it out, it doesn't seem totally unlikely that he might be able to get to that kind of total if he was to stay fit and available.
No, it doesn't, and I think yesterday also highlighted the role that Trent plays. The fact that Trent's there, he's in a deeper role, but he is a magician on the pitch. It means that Curtis Jones can roam free. He can go wherever he wants. He can pick up the space in the pocket because he knows Trent will find him. He knows he can be on the half turn because Trent and Fabinho there, as well as Henderson, to mop up, and it gave him licence to do that. And like you mentioned, Chris, him being a winger early on in his career is really, really helped him for now, because we've moulded him into a midfield role, but if he can be a box-to-box but really get some goals in him, that all helps from the fact that he was a winger. He's been in these positions before. He knows what to do inside the area. Sometimes it doesn't come as natural to you when you're not full of confidence. And we might have seen, I mean, he could have had a hat-trick the other day.
Should have.
He should have. But it's all of these signs that are so positive for him. And I'm really happy that another Scouser can come in and look, only he knows what it means to wear the badge, as well as Trent, and be from the city and know what it means for all of us as fans to then go and just look how happy he was in the post-match. It seems like it's fitting into place. Keep it up for a couple more games, get a big pre-season under you, learn more understanding of this role. Bear in mind, this is Curtis Jones when we're not at our best. We're not, everyone is brilliant. We're still having moments where for 25 minutes we're not great. Imagine what we are if we're going to go for a title or Champions League run. If we're at the peak of our powers with new additions who all understand the system, the sky's the limit for him, because he can get a bag full of goals for me.
A rising tide floats all boats, doesn't it? And I think that's where you need your experience, your Mo Salahs and all that to really lift Kurt and Harvey Elliott and Bajcetic up. And that's important, isn't it? I must admit, I do think that the goals from midfield thing's slightly overrated. I think people have spoken about it like it's fact for years, and if you're getting 90 goals in a season, you don't really need goals from midfield. Yeah. What I will say on that point, and where I think everybody's right, they might come at it from a wrong sort of angle, is I don't think we're getting a 70-goal season out of our 3 forwards anytime soon.
Yes, exactly.
And that's where he needs to fill in and get 10. Because we haven't got Mane who's scoring 25 and Salah scoring 35 and Bobby with 20 or whatever.
Look at Gundogan as an example of this. You do need, it's just a nice extra arrow in your fucking quiver or whatever, to just have someone else who can crop up and score a goal for you with a degree of regularity. And if we can add that on the other side as well, and that will be a transfer market thing, because I don't think Jordan Henderson's got that at this stage. As much as I set him that target every time I see him pre-season, that goals this season, Jordan, he's never quite got there. You need, but if you've got someone like Elliott in there, or someone like Gakpo in there, I don't think that's outside the realms of a possibility. You're right. I don't know if Darwin or Diaz is going to be a Mane 20 to 25 goal a season player. So yeah, it's encouraging.